Do you find politics challenging given that you're very straightforward and honest and most politicians are very corrupt?
Yeah, definitely. If you try to talk straight about the present situation, when you talk, a lot of people will get hurt. Especially in a scenario where there's a fair percentage of corrupt people, they know that I have got a name for that. People know that I am against corruption. They know that I'll be very strict if I come to some position. They know that I will not try to spare anybody due to any connections or any relationship with me. They know that they won't be able to approach me to cater for their personal interest. There won't be personal favors. Law will be applicable to everybody equally. So therefore, I will not be a very popular person among the politicians. I was not happy by just looking after my interest, making myself comfortable, or I had no agenda to earn some money, build up some wealth for me. I had the agenda for the country, for the nation. I don't think I still accomplished that agenda. So therefore, journey has been difficult, and I know it's difficult. Still, I don't think there is light at the end of the tunnel, but I have not given up. I am still fighting.
Welcome everyone, you're watching Conversations with Alanki. Some of the key traits a leader should possess are fearlessness, honesty and integrity. Today I will be in conversation with a leader who has been fearless in expressing his views and in speaking the truth. Joining me today in Conversations with Alanki is Field Marshal Sarath Fonseka. Welcome to this conversation.
Thank you.
So before we begin this conversation, tell us, how are you doing?
Okay.
Okay. How have you been spending your time?
We have a little bit of party work. Then I have my electorate, Kalani and Kampa district. Also, I'm doing some work with like a follow-up of Aragalaya. Not the same Aragalaya I'm trying to carry on with, but I thought I must try to organize a foundation for Aragalaya. So last time Aragalaya had only a front line. It collapsed because there was no foundation. So we are going around the country and working with some people, trying to rally around the people, mainly to stand against corruption.
Right, that is something I will touch upon. But first, tell us, as the chairman of the SJB, tell us a little about the task you have to fulfill.
No, basically, our leader is in the practice of devolving various tasks to us, responsibilities, work. So, what we are supposed to do is to proceed with the mainly to boost up the party image, then strengthen the party, and strengthening the party network. So we are all together like a team, carrying on with those things.
Right, you did mention about the Aragalaya. So let's revisit the Aragalaya, which happened last year. There were some politicians who actively participated in the Aragalaya, but now they can be seen in the current government. But if you really look at it, most of those in the previous government are also in the current government. Only a few key positions have been changed, but the people remain the same. What are your views on this? Has the system
if you are talking
changed?
about hot to a government which was there, Podujana Peramunda government, yes, we saw with the departure of Gotabe. In fact, a little before that, after 9th of May last year, with the incident which took place in Goldface and around Colombo, their government collapsed. The Prime Minister left. Cabinet was dissolved. Then they formed another cabinet, like interim government, which is actually continuing up to now. Of course, some changes have taken place. The president left, new president came, a new prime minister. In fact, before Gotabe left, there are some people who crossed over from our party to the government.
Indeed.
And they got some ministerial portfolios. So that was actually, those crossing overs had nothing to do with Aragalaya or nothing to do with the huge political changes which took place in the country. Because even before Gotabe left, they crossed over and then accepted ministry portfolios. That is their own politics, personal politics, I think. Aragalaya, although you mentioned whether there are politicians in Aragalaya actively taking part, I never noticed any politician taking part actively. Not only taking part, nobody was making any comments even in the parliament. Say, for example, no parliamentarian wanted to openly support and make any comments in the parliament even. Everybody saw some politicians when they wanted to visit Aragalaya also, the Aragalaya did not accept them. They reacted little violently at times against some politicians. I had some links with Aragalaya throughout because the Aragalaya had about 60 different groups in Goldface. I am not saying the Aragalaya was confined to Goldface. Aragalaya was in the hearts and minds of everybody in the country. But out of the people in the Goldface, about those small groups had leaders, their own leaders, about 60 groups.
Mm-hmm.
About 50% of them visited me also. They visited me in my office. They had a lot of discussions with me. So I told them that morally I am in support of them. And I accepted the root cause of Aragalaya. So likewise, they had some understanding with me, but not everybody. In Aragalaya also, there are people who had different agendas. Some people wanted to go to parliament. Some people wanted to get into some parties, work with some parties, then get into some nationalist or something. A lot of agendas were there. But those who had a very clear conscience at that time, I think they are still carrying on with the same spirit.
Do you feel that the government is on the right track? Have we achieved the system change that the Aragalaya demanded?
No, never. The government has gone back to their same old games now. Nothing has happened. The political culture, the same old corrupt culture is continuing. The government has started trying to fool the people, tell them lies, try to use them as slaves and misguide them. See whether in that corrupt political culture, the practice was to bribe the people and take them for a ride, tell them lies, wrong promises, false promises. They are doing all that now. So they have never changed their intention. They have never changed their attitudes. The people are lying low a little bit because there was some sort of suppression taking place with the new president coming in. They started arresting and producing in court some youths. So some sort of reluctance is there from the youths. But people, I don't think the people are happy because nothing has affected the people's life again. It has not affected for the betterment of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Their life has gone from bad to worst, their lifestyle.
And there has been no effective system change.
No, not at all.
And one has to admit that there's a lot of corruption in Sri Lankan politics. How would you want to change this? If you could do something about it.
No, it is like this. The corruption is there with politicians, some government servants, then some businessmen, dealers. They are all together involved in the corrupt activities. It's like a very strong team which have been, whatever the government comes.
Mm-hmm.
In this country, the new governments have come not because the opposition party has done better or had done differently. When the government is messing up, by default, the opposition comes to power.
Right.
So finally, we saw even with the Hapanala government, to bring that government, we took a lot of trouble. But even that government, after they came to power, people who matters, they had the same corrupt deals. The same way they were trying to earn the money, then bribe the people and take bribes, the commissions, all that are going on. And abuses, unaccountability, no transparency, all that are taking place. So it had never changed. So if it is to change, then you can say stop corruption. Stop corruption means you have to change this whole system,
Mm-hmm.
the whole mechanism. I think the rules and regulations and the laws already existing in the country is good enough. All that you have to do is to ensure that they are implemented, they are executed properly.
Right.
So judicial mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
the whole mechanism, justice mechanism must be activated properly. The independent commission must be depoliticized. Then the law must be applicable to everybody equally. Then definitely you have to identify. It's not difficult to identify the corrupt people, because every day, day by day, things are being reported. Only thing, the investigations don't see the expected results at the end.
Mhm.
So therefore, if you just go ahead with the available laws and rules and regulations, I think you can start correcting this. There is no difficulty in correcting this. You can put it right.
Because so far, like you said, it has been a vicious circle. Nothing has really been changing. There's been government after government, but pretty much everyone has been more or less the same.
Yes.
Moving on to a different topic. Lately, there are many debates about India's growing influence in Sri Lanka. Is this really an advantage to Sri Lanka? How do you see this?
Like this, if you take the world politics, for every country, number one priority is for themselves.
Mhm.
Nobody will sacrifice anything for the sake of the others.
Right.
Nobody is going to give anything free even.
Mhm.
There's a talk to say that the only thing you can get free in your life is the cheese in the rat trap. That's the only thing free somebody can get. So nothing will come free. When a country is falling, has become weak, I personally believe there is a competition between the countries going on throughout. Many people will try to take the advantage over it. But India have been little extra nice. They were ready to give us money. Some about $3 billion were given. Likewise, the IMF, the World Bank, they all contributed to a certain extent. But it does not mean that we can get over the overall problem by getting a little bit of money from here and there.
So it's
So
not a
we must
long-term
know, just
solution.
because we are weak, we must not go to the extent of trying to sell our sovereignty, sell our territorial integrity, and sell our independence, sell all the whatever the things available to us in our country. There are a whole lot of things, the natural things, the nature, what nature has given to us,
Right.
the facilities. If we try to sell all that to other countries in order to get money, then of course we'll end up one day in trouble. Because then the other countries will never say no. We won't sell our harbors, or we want to sell our jungles, or we want to sell the nature, our the rivers. There will be somebody who will come and jump and come and take them.
So it will always backfire.
Yes.
And also, India has stressed on the importance of fully implementing the 13th Amendment. The local government elections were not held, but there's talk about the necessity of holding provincial council elections. What are your views on this? Is it necessary right now in Sri Lanka?
No, like this, should have come little earlier. Due to prevailing circumstances in the country at some stage, we have come to terms. Of course, India sponsored that at that time, in 1987. That was mainly due to the problems, issues we had with the northern people after the July 1983, Black July.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things have been going on for some time. The India also interested about the Tamil Nadu politics. Tamil Nadu is dominated by Tamils, basically, majority Tamils. So they are being influenced by the Tamil Nadu politics also. So they had to take some decisions. They preferred some decisions. They preferred certain things to take place because our leaders were weak. Our country has been weak throughout. So we had to give in at some stage to a certain extent. Now, as and when, as per our whims and fancy, we can't say no suddenly.
Right.
But we have agreed to a certain extent, and people have got used to it also. So I personally feel having provincial councils is not a major issue now. We have got used to it. The South is used to it. East, North, everybody. The West, everybody. But these very other extra things they're asking, those are very sensitive issues. Just because one or two people in the government thinks he is ready to give, President is ready to give, maybe, but if the people in the South is not happy about it, the final outcome can be a little bad, dangerous, again harmful for the unity and for the sovereignty and everything else.
Right. So I'm going to put you on the spot. The presidential election is next year, and there are certain parties and individuals who have expressed an interest in having you as a presidential candidate. Can we expect to see you as a candidate?
Like this, now I am a member of a party.
Yes.
So I had to be abided by the party rules and regulations, constitution of the party. Recently, I was not there at the working committee. Sajid Premadasi, the leader of my party, they had taken a decision and said Sajid Premadasi, party leader, will be the presidential candidate next presidential election. Because I don't agree for deciding those things 1 year ahead or something. But those are not issues where people can take a firm decision 1 year ahead or 2 years ahead, because you must take a decision at the right time, at the right place, prevailing on the situation in the country. So therefore, I don't agree on that. The decision taken at that time. I am not saying Sajid should not contest, but the decision was taken the wrong time. That is my personal thinking. When the right time comes and the right period comes for party to decide on a candidate, prevailing situation in the country, the people's aspiration, we have to consider all that. We are a party with a certain faction of people. But when we think about take decisions in the interest of the nation, in national interest, we have to be concerned about the aspiration of all the people.
Right, absolutely.
So with all that, if the things materialize in that manner, and if I am expected to contest something, then there is no reason for me being a politician to say no. Not only me, anybody else in the party. Everybody has that right.
Let's assume that you could change the country positively, or let's assume that you were the president. What would be the first thing you would change?
I'll give priority one for anti-corruption campaign. Without going forward with that, then nothing can happen in this country. Then we are already economically collapsed. Obviously, you have to keep it in the back of your mind. And we won't be able to develop on every aspect altogether in one go, short term, long term, like that. But what is required immediately, economy has to be boosted up in certain areas. At least we must ensure that we create a country where people can have 3 meals.
Right.
Then a country where we have the free education, free health services, uninterrupted. Certain things to be given priority. Then the anti-corruption campaign has to go on. I think the anti-corruption campaign will have to start with the politician first, because that is something what would start from the top and go down, not start from the bottom and try to correct it.
Right. Also, there is a big drug menace in the country. There's a lot of drugs coming into Sri Lanka, and there are also many kids who are getting addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
How can this be eradicated? I mean, are the laws sufficient? What's going wrong where?
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem with the law. I mean, like now they say if somebody is carrying 5 grams or something, you can give a death sentence. So you don't need any strict punishments or anything like that. More than that, the punishments are good enough. Only thing, the mechanism, how the mechanism works, the institutions who are responsible for it, whether they are working properly is the question. We know police now sometimes ago in the narcotics bureau, everybody was arrested. They themselves were arrested for dealing with the drug dealers. So narcotics people themselves was transporting and doing the drug business. So likewise, you can see that the institutions are not functioning properly. They themselves are corrupt. Even if you want to give, say, for example, independent commissions, police commission, no judiciary, or election, first thing which must happen is the institution must be cleaned up. Then only you can give them the independence to function on their own. The police, there are problems in the police. There are majority of the police officers are good, but if you had 10% corrupt people in the police, that is enough to mess up with the whole system. I think there's issue like that.
And talking about defense, something that you are aware of, Um, the Easter attack, do you think we got the answers we were looking for?
No, I don't think so. I think the justice was not done to the victims. They have gone around and arrested few catchers, small fellows here and there. But the mastermind, the big brains, I think they are still at large. We could not effectively follow it up, and the way we finished the LTT, we will effectively wipe it out and there's nothing left behind. But in this case, we don't know whether we have gone to the correct people or whether the masterminds are still at large. We think they are still at large. We don't know even who masterminded the whole thing. Some small fellows here and there who had undergone weapon training or something was arrested. So I don't think the justice is done to the people, the victims. That is another thing which we have to one day do the justice to them and do the right thing. We have to ensure that these things never happen again.
Do you think Sri Lanka is secure now in terms of defense?
No, I'm not pointing the finger at the defense, the services, but there are certain, I think, shortcomings in that. The army and the services, what I saw during the final war, during that period, it is not in existence at the moment. A lot of soldiers are deserting. Every 5 or 6 months, there are about 25,000 soldiers deserting. So that means they are not happy. There are some administrative issues, most probably. Some issues may be within the capacity of the people in the army, the generals and the brigadiers. Some issues may be beyond their reach due to the government failures. The government is not interested to maintain effective, powerful, strong military service. Then obviously they will start standards will go down, deteriorate.
Indeed.
I think as it is, the government is talking about bringing it to about size-wise, bringing it to half. So most probably they must be seeing the defense service as a headache at the moment. They are not interested to maintain the same standards. That is because the economy has collapsed. Because they have no money, they think they can save some money, earn some money by cutting down the security aspects, which is not right. It is not correct.
Absolutely, because defense is crucial. It's very important.
Without defense, you can't develop a country.
Indeed. Something a little bit personal is, do you find politics challenging given that you're very straightforward and honest and most politicians are very corrupt?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
If you try to talk straight about the present situation, when you talk, a lot of people will get hurt. Especially in a scenario where there is a fair percentage of corrupt people. They know that I have got a name for that. People know that I am against corruption. They know that I'll be very strict if I come to some position. They know that I will not try to spare anybody due to any connections or any relations with me. They know that they won't be able to approach me to cater for their personal interest. There won't be personal favors. Law will be applicable to everybody equally. So therefore, I will not be a very popular person among the politicians.
But how has this political journey been so far for you?
Everybody knows in this country, my journey was, I started as a presidential candidate. Then they framed bogus charges and put me in the jail for 2.5 years. So I had to fight back all the way. I was not happy by just looking after my interest, making myself comfortable, or I had no agenda to earn some money and build up some wealth for me. I had the agenda for the country, for the nation. I don't think I have still accomplished that agenda. So therefore, journey has been difficult, and I know it's difficult. Still, I don't think there is light at the end of the tunnel, but I have not given up. I am still fighting.
And when you look back on your entire journey, not just your political journey, but also the time you served the country, what has been the most challenging period of your life?
Obviously, finishing the final war was the most difficult or very difficult task, and the expectations from the people also very high. And before I took over the army was had a very low morale, in a state of very low morale at that time. They were being defeated. They were pulling out. They were running. They were escaping, vacating camps, abandoning cantonments. So I started with an army like that. So building up that army, it was 116,000 army. Those days only about 3,000 soldiers used to join the army. We couldn't fill the vacancies, but when I took over, I was recruiting about 4,000 a month, about 30,000 every year, and training them. I had to change the tactics, I had to change the concepts, because LTT was very familiar with all the army methodology. So I had to do new things to put them out of balance and build army with confidence. Soldiers, gradually they started gaining more and more confidence. And it was a long term affair, basically, fighting for 3 years, almost 2 years, 9 months. It's not very easy, 24 hours of the day and 365 days of the year without giving a respite to the terrorists. It was not easy task, but we are glad that we finally completed that.
All right. We have come to the end of this conversation. Thank you so much, Mr. Fonseka, for your time and for this conversation. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I will be back with a new episode. Until then, stay safe, take care, and God bless.
Thank you.